Well, Lutz, first of all, I think it's only right we start by paying tribute to Jimmy. Always sad to see managers move on, especially someone as popular as Jimmy with everybody at the club.
Yeah, it's always a very difficult, never an easy situation. And I think Jimmy will always be remembered as the manager who won the cup after so many years. Was, as you said, very, very popular with the players, with the staff. And it's always very sad to see a true gentleman like Jimmy definitely is being gone. But unfortunately, that's also part of the game, of professional football. And we didn't work together for a very long time, but I knew him from before. And I definitely have to say thank you for all the great things he did here. And at the same time, wish him all the best for the future. And I'm pretty sure it won't be very long before some other teams trying to get Jimmy under contract.
I know you worked tirelessly to bring success to the club, but why did you and the board feel it was time for a change?
There is never the right time or the wrong time. I think that's a feeling you get when certain developments are happening within a squad, within a period of time. And I think there was not a decision which was taken lightly. It was not a decision which was discussed for a very, very long time. I think looking at the performances around Christmas, just before Christmas, with the Celtic game, of course, being very difficult, also with the Dundee game not being really brilliant, and having the 2 losses in the last week, I think it just showed that a change could give us a different momentum, that we're getting a different voice and set an impulse to take the maximum out of the squad we have right now. And I think after really detailed discussions with the board and with different shareholders, I think we had to make that call, and we think it's the right moment for that decision. And work hard to try to steer the ship back into the right direction and pick up as many points as possible.
Well, Jimmy and obviously Krista as well, we wish them all the very best for the future. But as is the case with football, we always now need to move on. You're leading the process on appointing a new permanent manager. Can you talk us through what the process will look like and who else will be involved?
Yeah, I don't want to bore you with a huge description of the process. Otherwise, you could do it yourself. So I have to keep the cards a little bit to myself here. But it's pretty simple. I think it would be very wrong to just make a panic decision, make a quick decision, and try to get the next best possible man in charge. I think the process needs to be very clearly described. What are we looking at? And I mentioned it when I came here. The playing style, the DNA, is super important for us. How do we want to play football? How do we see ourselves? And I think the manager needs to reflect that into perfection. So we said about that we want to be a high pressing, we want to be a hard working, we want to be a high intensity team. And that's also the way you coach, the way you prepare the teams. So all that kind of technical and tactical parts needs to be ticked off. But then I think the personality is very important. We need a guy who feels Aberdeen, who can understand the culture here. I think it's not the easiest place to be as a manager, because people have very high expectations. People have high standards. So is the board. And I think Aberdeen Football Club have to have that high standards to be successful and to actually live up to that reputation and live up to the goals what we have in common. And I think the personality of the next manager needs to be fresh air. He needs to be definitely hardworking. He needs to have a clear identity how we play football, but he also needs to reflect a certain emotion and a certain fire, which I think is extremely important to get this team going, to get the players behind you and actually make the players run through a brick wall every day in training and every weekend for sure. So the mix between tactical, technical, playing style, identity, but also the character and the personality must be the total package.
Are you able to put a time scale on it at this stage?
No, I don't want to put a time well, frame on it at all. Could be 6 days, could be 6 weeks, it could be 6 months. I mean, lots of people already applied literally 20 minutes after the press release went out. So it was a very long night just by receiving emails and text messages. But the fact is that we want to make a very thoughtful decision. We want to take our time, and having that quick shot right now, because everybody asks for it, to find an immediate solution, I don't think that will be very well thought through. So we need to be clear what we want, and if it takes some more time, I have full belief and full trust in Peter Levin, like he did it before as an interim manager and got good results. And he knows the team very well, he knows the club very well, and I think also having some Aberdonians involved now in the coaching stuff, like for example Stuart Duff, helps us to create a little bit of a better connection again to the fans, to the public. I do want to have that Scottish element more and more, and don't be surprised if we are out on the transfer market actually looking for more Scottish players. I think it's very important for a club like Aberdeen, but also for the city to have that, and that's, I think, how we're going to approach that surge without getting rushed into something.
I was going to ask about the January transfer window, so you brought it up. I mean, does this change the impact on the January transfer window in any way? Every window is an opportunity to improve the squad and fix certain issues. Will that still happen despite the fact you're still looking for a new manager at the same time?
Yeah, it doesn't change our weaknesses as a team. It doesn't change the positions we need to strengthen that. I mean, looking at the last few games, I could tell you maybe 6 positions we need to be stronger and we need to improve. But we also need to have a certain trust and belief in our players, that they develop, that they get better. And you get better by playing minutes. And we have a lot of young players in our squad who just have to be given the opportunity now to shine and do that. So we don't want to now use that transfer window just to shoot left, right and centre and bring in 5, 6 new bodies just to show that we're doing something. Again, the same thing. Will there be big changes coming in the future? 100%. I think we do need to be better. We need to find a clear way. And some new players is a very normal thing. We have players who are here on loan, who will eventually depart. Alfie Dorrington already left us a few days ago. There will be also a few more players follow in the next few days, because our squad is too big. So the big first move is that we cut our squad together, that we're moving a few players out who have not been able to get that many minutes, and then still add on 1-2 positions with quality, with players who have immediate impact. But again, I said that last time when we spoke, I don't believe to have in the winter the massive changes, because it makes it very difficult for the current players. It makes it very difficult for the coaching staff to find some rhythm if we have too many new faces. Will we change something? Of course. Will we also rock the boat? Yes, we will. But at a smaller matter in the winter, and with a clear picture that all the players who are here right now, and that's also a clear message I gave the players as well. You have now 6 months time to show yourself. You have 6 months time to prove that you are worth wearing that badge, that you want to be an Aberdeen player, but you have to work for it. So if we are show ponying around and not really getting the effort onto the pitch and not getting the intensity up, then that tells me something that we need to change more. So it's an open door policy right now. We have a lot of players for selection. I think it's always a reset when you bring in a new manager. It's always an opportunity and a chance for all the players who are here since many, many years or many months, whatever it is, to start at ground zero, to prove themselves, to make themselves available and show that they want to be part of that team. So clear message to every single player out there: work hard, show yourself in training. The best 11 will play. It's a new start, and that's how we're going to approach the next few weeks.
One of the things you mentioned there, I mean, is it key the players that come in January are guys who can go straight into the team? Now, obviously, they might not get picked, but it's up to the manager, but you want guys who can come in and make an impact straight away.
Yeah, there's always 2 ways of looking at it. I mean, we can bring a player with a high ceiling, which is a young player with a development. But normally when you do act in the winter, in general, you want to bring a player which has the quality to be an immediate starter, has the quality to have immediate impact and make us better. So the big goal is, of course, to make us better. For now, we are in 8th position now. I think that's very disappointing with the new year starting. And for me, the 8th position with the quality of that squad is not acceptable. It's below par. It's not good enough. And that's why we have to add 1 or 2 quality pieces to make us better and to move us closer to the position where we have to be, where we should be. And I think that's pretty much unnegotiable, that being 8th in the league is not good enough.
Last one on the transfer stuff, and maybe not just the January window, looking ahead to the summer window as well. And you maybe covered a wee bit of this, but will there be a significant change in terms of the types of players we bring in and the strategy of the club? Will we see changes in the strategy of the club that's tried to adopt in recent years?
Yeah, if you have a clear identity, if you have a way you want to play, then you need to be players who fit exactly that bill. I want to give you one bold statement, and you can put that together the way you feel like. But I think that we have a very good squad when it comes to individual players. But 11, 15 or 20 players who are individually good don't always necessarily make a good team. And I think we need to have these connection players who make the current squad better, to add that certain quality to make us into a better team. I think that must be the big goal for now. And adding quality, adding stability is the clear goal number 1 for the winter. For the summer, every single player who will come here needs to fit into the profile which we're creating, needs to fit into a clear positional profile which we have. Everything else is not good enough. We cannot just go always on the real quality. It needs to be a fitting piece for our whole team and for the whole squad.
Just on the managerial search, last one, you mentioned the fact you've been a lot of emails already. Have you been surprised by any of the names that have put their CVs forward? I'm trying to tease it out here.
I've seen that much, and I'm not surprised about anything. But there is definitely some big names. There is some surprising names. There is some terrible names. There is all nationalities. It's kind of it shows how crazy the world of football developed. If you look into the numbers of names or the names who came up, but as I said, we have a clear profile. We have a clear idea how the next manager should look like. I always say the connection to Scottish football is really important. Knowing the Scottish League is really important. There is good coaches out there. We just don't want to get too stressed right now and run into the wrong decision.
So, Lutz, what message would you give the fans watching this? I'm sure you can understand how disappointed they are at the moment.
Yeah, first of all, I want to wish them all a happy new year. I think that's important. Secondly, I think the standards and especially the expectations you have here are very high, but it also shows how passionate the fans are. I mean, outside Aberdeen are known to moan a little bit once in a while, but I think that also shows that they really care for their team and they really care what's happening. And I think it's important to have a verbal fan base who don't hold back. To everybody's entitled to give their opinion, but I think the very most important thing is that we have a good group of people here who are working really hard to get things in the right place. There is a lot of good things happening behind the scenes, and I think having now a change in the manager is always a big impact, for everyone. So I think I really want to focus on stabilizing and finishing this season on a high, but also looking ahead and looking forward to the next 2-3 transfer windows to just create something special.
Well, thank you, Lutz. And if it's okay with you, I think we'll try and do regular updates to keep the fans informed when we can about what's going on with the new search for the new manager.
Of course we can. I can't give you all the details, of course, but I think it's very important to be as transparent as possible and, trying to find a solution which works out well in the future.